All right, guys. So, welcome to the crypto training with my friend Mike Dillard. As I mentioned in a bunch of my emails, Mike is actually the guy who got me into crypto back in 2020 when that kind of bull market after the pandemic really ramped up. I got in on Bitcoin, I got in on Ethereum. I kept it pretty simple to start, but I've made some good money from following Mike's advice. I actually joined he has a higher level membership site. I joined that last year where he kind of gives ongoing insights into what cryptos he's buying and selling. And I think Mike has a very unique way of looking at crypto, Bitcoin, not only in the short term, but the long term as well. He's made significant amount of money, millions and millions and millions of dollars from crypto through the last couple of bull markets. He's been in the game since 2013, which is very, very early. That's back when Bitcoin was like 75 bucks, Ethereum was like $5. So long, long time he's been in it. One reason I really wanted to have Mike on is because I think his view on where the market's at and where it's going, both short term and long term, to me is quite fascinating. Um, a lot of what he's going to talk about today is kind of where he sees things at, where he sees things going. Um, I, I made sure we wanted to really focus on that because to me that's probably the most interesting part. He's obviously also going to give you his big picks that we touted that we're going to give three of his picks during this training, so you'll get those at the end. But really, kind of where everything is at and where it's going, I think is going to really open people's eyes. I remember the first time I heard Mike talk about a lot of this, I thought it was very conspiracy bullshit. I did not believe it. Even though Mike is a friend of mine, I was like, it's a little far-fetched for me. But kind of the more I've been learning from him over the last, I would say, 2 years, and the more I've read, I'm starting to realize a lot of what he talks about and what he kind of bases a lot of his thesis around is very much happening. And I am starting to believe a lot more of it, which was kind of the primer for why I wanted to have him on to talk about this. So, Mike is, like I said, Mike is going to talk about kind of where he sees things at right now, where he sees things going. He's going to give the three picks that we talked about at the end. And if you also want to learn from Mike more, he's going to talk a little bit at the end about he has a higher level training program where he can keep up with his picks and figure out what he's buying, selling, all that type of stuff. So I'm gonna turn it over to Mike and let him take it from here.
Awesome, brother. Thank you for having me today. Super excited to join you guys. This is my favorite topic in the world to talk about. And it's really cool that I get to do it with a bunch of copywriters since that's how I've made my living for the last 20 years. So, yeah, really excited to jump in today. And I'm going to be off camera most of the time because I've got a bunch of slides that I put together for you. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and we will dive in. And then again, at the end, I'll leave time for everybody to ask questions. So let me go to my settings real fast. There we go. All right. So the title of today's webinar is How to Make Life-Changing Wealth Investing in Crypto Assets Without Any Previous Trading or Technical Expertise. Specifically, there's a few things that I want to share with you guys. I'm going to first and foremost walk you through 3 steps that you will need to take in order to turn a small amount of money into a large amount of money in the span of about 24 months. That first step, again, is really all about what to buy. Or excuse me, the first step is all about when to buy. And we'll get into some charts here that I'm going to show you that will really make it obvious on when you should be buying crypto. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people who get into this industry buy it at the absolute worst time, which is when there's a parabolic bull run and it's hitting new all-time highs and they get excited and they're hearing about it everywhere. And that's when they finally buy into crypto only to ride it all the way back down to the bottom over the following year. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, I'm going to show you what to buy. There's over 10,000 plus crypto tokens available today, and everybody has an opinion. I already saw some comments in the chat, what do I think about XRP and this token and that token? So we're going to talk about what to buy. And step number 3, I'm going to show you when to sell near the top and how you can figure out when that's going to happen. Because it's one of the most important steps in the process. You can't make money in crypto without following all 3 of these. But obviously selling near the top is when the money is actually made. Buying at the bottom is going to determine how much money you make, right? And so all of these are very, very important. Number four, I'm also going to show you how to buy new assets before they're ever listed on exchanges like Coinbase or Kraken or Binance. If the name of the game here is to buy low and sell high, the ability to buy these tokens the very day that they're listed. We just invested in one last week and we bought it, added it to the portfolio within 30 minutes of it going live on the blockchain, right? The vast majority of the public are not going to get an opportunity to buy that token, probably for 6 months to a year when it finally gets listed on Coinbase or Kraken. And by then, it's probably gone up 10 to 20x. And so I'm going to show you guys how to do that here today as well. And fifth, I'm going to show you how to track your portfolio and trades for tax purposes, which is super, super important. And number six, at the end, I'm going to share my top 3 crypto picks for this bull run, or at least 3 of my top picks that have been doing really well and that I believe have some substantial upside left. And then I would take a long, hard look at if you want to invest in this asset class. One of these that we'll talk about has already gone up 2,145%. So that's a 21x from when we bought it a few months ago. And I think it has another, 10 to 20x left to go from here. And we'll talk about that more here in just a little bit. Now, it sounds like some of you are familiar with me already. I'm 46 years old. I'm here in Austin, Texas. I'm a Christian. I have a phenomenal family here in the Hill Country. I went from dead broke and waiting tables at P.F. Chang's to becoming a self-made millionaire by the age of 29, primarily by mastering copywriting, which has been awesome. I was a founding member of the Austin chapter for Tiger 21, which is a global mastermind group that requires a minimum net worth of $10 million to join. Today, Tiger's roughly 1,100 members collectively manage more than $100 billion in personal assets. I developed the world's first fully automated robotic garden with Dr. Peter Diamandis a few years ago. And then I am a proud investor in Onnit, along with Joe Rogan, Click and Grow, Gel Blaster, and I'm a private investor in SpaceX, which has been pretty awesome. And I've also been asked to speak on stages around the world when it comes to finance and when it comes to crypto and investing. This is me speaking with George Gammon a few months ago at his Rebel Capitalist event. Mark Moss flew me out to Florida to speak at his event last year. And then real estate billionaire Ken McElroy had me talk about investing with his 320,000 YouTube subscribers. And then I've been friends with Kiyosaki and had dinner with him a couple of months ago over in Arizona for well over a decade. Today, obviously, we're here to talk about crypto. And as Justin mentioned, I started investing in Bitcoin in 2013. A lot of people, who were around for the 2017 bull market consider themselves OGs at this point, but I would have to say that I'm way back early in the day. I deposited $30,000 in a wire for 30 grand March 27th, 2013 over to Mt. Gox. That bought me around, I want to say 400 Bitcoin. It was trading for $75 at the time. Today, that would be worth $28 million. And likely by the end of this bull run, it would be worth close to $100 million. Fortunately, I'm not sitting in that position on 400 Bitcoin anymore, because that was stolen in 2014 when Mt. Gox was hacked, which was the first big crypto exchange hack back in the day. And unfortunately, I lost all of that Bitcoin and really started over. I came back into the space early in 2017. So January of 2017, I started buying Ethereum between $5 and $7. Today, Ethereum's, $3,500 plus. And outside of my business, investing in crypto has been the single biggest focus for me, just from a knowledge, skill set, and passion standpoint. I've lived through and I've experienced every major market up and down that you can experience in this industry. Again, from being hacked to watching exchanges go down to losing tens of thousands of dollars in crypto because I didn't bridge my tokens over to a new blockchain migration. And if that sounds like Greek to you, I totally get it. But those are all the little details and nuances that really become important in an industry that is as new as this one. Because of this experience, I've had a chance to talk about crypto specifically at Cody Sanchez event here in Austin with this gentleman here, Dan Held, who's the CMO of the Kraken Exchange, the second biggest exchange here in the United States. So hopefully you guys feel like you've got a solid tour guide for you here today. Which is my goal. So before we dive in, important quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is presented for educational purposes only. My results are not typical, and past performance does not guarantee future results, right? Investing always involves risk and can result in the loss of substantial capital, if not all of your capital. And obviously, crypto is a highly volatile asset, and the vast majority of people who invest in crypto lose their money. All right. It's also important to note, guys, that we are entering unprecedented territory in this cycle. Bitcoin and crypto have never been through a substantial market recession, and we are currently overdue for a really big one. So if stocks sell off and crash, crypto will also sell off and crash as well. So the point of that is to never invest more money in crypto than you can afford to lose, because we are living in a very, very, very uncertain world right now where things can change overnight. And you do not want to invest more money in this asset class, or really any asset class right now, than again you can afford to risk. All right. So we're going to start real quick at a really high macro view. And I want to really answer the question for you on why is there such a massive opportunity in crypto right now, right? Why do I believe that Bitcoin will become the single most valuable asset in the world that you and I can own in the years ahead? Well, this chart right here really demonstrates that problem, and it also represents the opportunity. So the problem is that we're taking on $1 trillion in new debt about every 100 days right now. So every colored bar in this graph represents the issuance of $1 trillion in new debt. And you can see here in 2020, there's like $2 trillion here in a matter of weeks. And then now we're back in a parabolic phase where debt is increasing, starting to increase at a parabolic rate. And again, we're issuing $1 trillion in new debt every 100 days, which is, outside of 2020, unprecedented. Now, this causes inflation and devaluation of the currency. And the really big problem is that this debt cycle cannot be stopped, which means it's only going to continue to compound and get worse. So the end result of this is the destruction of wealth that is held in US dollars. And then it's going to end in the result of the destruction in the currency itself, because eventually 100% of all fiat currencies that have ever been created have gone to $0 in value. They have lost all of their value and have been replaced. So where are we at in this process? Well, over and over again throughout history, nations that can print their own money, like we can here in the United States, go through a similar 7-stage life cycle that I'm going to share with you now real quick. Stage number 1, the country starts out with good money, which is either gold or backed by gold. Stage number 2, as it develops economically and socially, it begins to take on more and more economic burdens, including public liabilities like welfare, Social Security, etc. In stage 3, as its economic affluence grows, so does its political influence, and it increases expenditures to fund a massive military. Stage number 4, eventually it puts its military to use, the empire expands and expenditures explode. Think World War II. Stage number 5, to fund these wars, it steals the wealth of its people by replacing their money with currency that can be created in unlimited quantities. This is what happened when we went off the gold standard in 1971. If you think about Rome and if you think about the United States, as you start to build a global empire, there's no way to realistically continue to fund that and the military size that is required to manage it. If you're working off of a limited budget, you have to be able to print unlimited amounts of currency in order to manage that. And that's when things start to go off the rails. That leads us to stage number 6, the wealth transfer caused by the expansion of the currency supplies felt by the population, a severe consumer price inflation triggering a loss of faith in the currency. And this is exactly what happened since the pandemic of 2020, after the Fed printed trillions of dollars in stimulus, causing unprecedented levels of inflation here in our lifetime. Again, that brings us back to this chart here. And again, $1 trillion in debt every 100 days right now. And the only way that that debt can be serviced is by printing more money, creating more debt, and causing more inflation, which creates this feedback loop that, again, only ends in one way, which is the destruction of the currency. That brings us to stage number 7, a mass movement out of the currency into precious metals, farmland, real estate, and now Bitcoin starts to take place. And we have started to see that take place here with Bitcoin over the last 10 years specifically. So if you're paying attention, you can see that we're currently at stage 6 and we're starting to enter into stage 7. How long will it take for that to play out? I really have no idea. It could take 5 years. It could take 15 years. I don't really know at this point, but I do know most likely by the year 2030, we're going to see a radical transformation here in our currency system, potentially with the introduction of a digital dollar or US or a CBDC. So, all right. That brings us to the opportunity, right? This creates a massive opportunity when you see a dislocation and a disruption happening that's this large. Well, it creates an equal and opposite reaction, which creates an equal and opposite opportunity. So the currency at some point will collapse, and the massive wealth that is transferred, and massive wealth will be transferred to those who had enough foresight to position their money into the right classes, asset classes ahead of time. So moving the dollars that you have that are declining in value into hard assets that retain or increase their value in this situation. Again, the hardest money used to be on earth used to be gold. It's now Bitcoin. So why Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the scarcest form of money ever created in the history of mankind. Think about that. Bitcoin is the scarcest form of money ever created in the entire history of mankind. It is the first and only form of money that is not controlled by a person or government. That means it can't be changed or abused by somebody in power. It's the most secure form of money ever created. All of the biggest intelligence agencies in the world for the last 13 plus years have been trying to take down Bitcoin and the Bitcoin network. They have not been able to do it. It is the most accessible form of money ever created, and it is the most efficient form of money ever created, right? You and I could literally walk around with billions of dollars on our phone or in our pocket on a little keychain, a USB drive. We can send billions of dollars to anywhere we want in the world, to anyone we want in the world, without an intermediary, without having to get permission from somebody, without having to pay fees to a banker, any of those things, right? And so it is literally the most dominant form of money that has ever been created. And people are finally just starting to figure that out on a mass level. So that at the end result, it is becoming the superior store of value in the world, and that is creating a flight to quality on a global level. This is all about gamification. If a new form of technology comes out that is truly scarce, which has never really happened before, guys, right? Whenever a new form of technology comes out or an innovation comes out, it usually spreads like wildfire throughout the world. We've never had a new technology come out that is actually scarce. And when that happens, it creates a gamified situation where once people figure out, hey, there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin ever created, we better get it now before everybody else does. And then other people start to figure that out. It creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, which is why we've seen Bitcoin go from, a penny to $68,000, right? In the span of roughly 12, 13, 14 years now. All right, this is really interesting. Where is the price of Bitcoin ultimately going? How high is it going to get? So this is a chart of the most valuable assets and companies in the world. And as you can see here, Bitcoin is number 10. It has already become more valuable than Tesla, more valuable than JP Morgan Chase, Visa, more valuable than Berkshire Hathaway. Next up, in the next few months, it's going to be more valuable than Facebook. It's going to be more valuable than silver. It's going to be more valuable probably by the end of this year than Google and Amazon, right? And this is going to, Bitcoin started at zero and look where it is right now in just over a decade. So within the next year or two, it's going to be more valuable than NVIDIA. And I would say by 2030, certainly within the next 10 years, it's going to be more valuable than Apple, Microsoft, but specifically gold. So the market cap for gold right now is $15.7 trillion. How much is Bitcoin going to be worth when it hits that same market cap of $15.7 trillion? It's going to be worth $747,000 per Bitcoin just when it replaces gold, right? Now, here's the big question. Will governments continue to print currencies to pay their debts? Yes, they have to. Well, the more governments continue to create and print fiat currencies, the higher Bitcoin is going to go. The more they print, the more Bitcoin absorbs, right? And that is why it is going up in value exponentially. This is creating the largest wealth transfer in human history, and it is not too late to take part in it. Right now, I want you to think of it this way. Bitcoin is currently 0.068% of $1 million. Bitcoin will eventually hit $1 million in value, likely within the next 10 years. So you're still not even a tenth of the way there, right? You're roughly a 15th of the way to $1 million. So I like to look at it this way because this really puts things in perspective for folks. Now, if you want to invest in crypto or accumulate Bitcoin, there's really two ways to do that. The first is just to go out and buy Bitcoin, ideally during the bear market. You want to sell at the top of the bull market for cash and then buy more Bitcoin at the bottom of the next cycle. That is how you stack and grow your Bitcoin holdings, which is really the name of the game. The name of the game moving forward in life is how much of the Bitcoin network can I own? That is how wealth is going to be measured in the next 10 years. There is nowhere near enough Bitcoin in the world for most folks to own a single Bitcoin, right? If you own a single Bitcoin 10 years from now, you're going to be one of the wealthiest people on the planet. The data that I've seen, in fact, suggests, based on current adoption rates and wallets that hold certain amounts of Bitcoin, is that less than 250,000 people on a planet of 8 billion will own one Bitcoin or more. So if you can get to a point where you can just own just one, then you're going to be, again, one of the richest people on the planet. Ideally, we want to own more than one, a lot more than that. So that's one way to do it, is to buy low, sell high at the top, wait for the next bear market to come in, and then buy low again at the bottom. The second way is to buy altcoins that can outperform Bitcoin. We want to sell those at the top of the bull market for cash, and then use that money to buy Bitcoin at the bottom of the next bear. So last cycle, from 2018 to 2021, Bitcoin went up 20x from its low of $3,200 to its high of 68,000. So if you nailed the bottom and the top perfectly, you got a 20x return. Now, these are some examples from my altcoin portfolio, because that's how I like to basically trade these markets. Instead of buying just Bitcoin, again, I put the vast majority of my money into altcoins, and here's some examples of some of those trades again from the last cycle. Theta, we got a 20x on. And these are, guys, to be fully transparent, these are the tops. So these are the prices that we bought in and that I published in our portfolio. These are the cycle top prices for those assets. So if you sold at the top, this was your maximum potential gain, right? So we didn't get these gains, but we got, roughly, 50 to 80% of these gains. But 20x, 28x on VET, 34x, Engine 32x, Matic, one of our biggest winners, 286x, and Seek was 509x, right? So substantially more than the potential 20x you could have gotten in Bitcoin. If I invested $1,000 into each of those projects for a total of $6,000, that $6,000 would have turned into as much as $909,000. So again, these cycles create the opportunity for all of us to turn small amounts of money into significantly larger amounts of money within the span of about 24 months, which is usually the time that it takes to go from a cycle bottom to a cycle top. But we'll get into that here more in just a little bit. All right, so to do that, right, how do we turn small amounts of money into large amounts of money? In crypto, we're going to get into our 3 steps. So step number 1 is to know when to buy low and to have the courage to do it. All right. The best way to do that is to use indicators that can give you a clear, unemotional, and unbiased view of the market. So this is one of the indicators that we use. As you can see here, this is the black line is the price of Bitcoin. The green line is a moving average. Whenever the price of Bitcoin comes down and touches this green line, that signals the bottom of the bull market. And as you can see in all of the previous cycles, it has come down very briefly and touched this line, which has signaled buy, go all in, all the money that you want to allocate into Bitcoin. That is the moment that you do it. It usually gives you a week to a month time frame to nail the absolute bottom, but it takes all of the guesswork out of the process. Right? How easy is it to come here and look at a chart like this, and when it hits the green line, you buy, and you do it with conviction. The other part about that is the emotional side of it. When Bitcoin comes down and hits this green line, the last thing most people want to do is buy Bitcoin, because it's been going down and going down and going down, and that creates cognitive bias. And it makes you think, well, it's going to keep going down more, right? It's been going down for a year and a half. It's probably going to keep going down more. Well, this indicator takes that guesswork and the emotion out of it for you so that you can just use this and nail the bottom when 99.9% of the other people in this industry are not going to be able to do that. This is another indicator that we use. It uses a moving average. When it's in this green accumulation zone, this is when you want to be buying, right? So we can see here, this zone started roughly halfway through 2022, and it just ended a few months ago, towards the end of 2023. And with our basically group where I tell people what I'm doing with my portfolio, we've been buying throughout this entire period. When everybody else was ignoring crypto and was saying that Bitcoin was dead, is when we were buying assets at rock bottom prices. And as you'll see here in a little bit, it's the reason why we're already doing so well. But this is key, right? You can use this indicator. As soon as it turns green, it'll turn green on your chart just like this. You start buying and you just average in for the next year. Now, that brings me to a big question here, which is, is it too late, right? And when, if you're just now getting into crypto, is it too late to buy in for this cycle? Well, the big event that you want to pay attention to is Bitcoin's halving event. This happens every 4 years, and basically the mining reward that miners get for processing the Bitcoin network and transactions gets cut in half. So if you think about it, the new supply that comes into the Bitcoin network on a daily basis gets cut in half. It's deflationary. Instead of inflation and more supply coming onto the market, less supply comes onto the market. These dotted lines are the halving events of the previous halvings. And as you can see, after the halving event, the price of Bitcoin tends to go parabolic, and we enter the final third phase of the bull market where the biggest gains take place. In the very first one, we had a 92x from the date of the halving event to the cycle top. In the previous 2016, 2017 cycle, after the halving, you can see the price here went parabolic, and we had a 30x gain from the halving. So you didn't get the bottom, but you still got a 30x gain to the top. And the last cycle in 2020, we got an 8x return. And this cycle top was cut short because of manipulation, thanks to FTX. Should have gone quite a bit higher than that, but we got an 8x out of it. The moral of the story here is that you want to invest your capital into this asset class before the halving event, because that's when prices start to go up exponentially. The halving event for this cycle is 10 days from now. It's on April 20th. Literally, it's on 420. And so you have, roughly 10 days to 4 weeks. I would say 10 days to a month before the market could start to go up parabolic for the next, I want to say 9 to 18 months. And I can't give you a super clear date on when I think the cycle is going to end, because there's so many shenanigans going on in the general economy and with the election. But this is your last good chance to buy. So you guys being on this webinar nailed the timing on this. If we were having this webinar 2 or 3 months from now, you would have missed this entry point. So your timing's great. All right. Step number 2, know what tokens to buy and how to buy them, right? So in every cycle, there are narratives that drive the gains behind certain types and asset classes of tokens. In the last 2020 cycle, the primary narratives were DeFi, layer 2s like Matic, DEXs or decentralized exchange tokens like Uniswap, gaming, and NFTs, right? Like Bored Ape Yacht Club. Everybody was all about the NFTs last cycle. And this cycle, nobody's really talking about NFTs. This cycle, we're talking about AI, talking about gaming. We're talking about DePIN, which stands for Decentralized Physical Infrastructure. We're talking about the Solana ecosystem, and we're talking about memes. So money goes where attention goes. And these narratives is where the attention is. So these are the asset categories that you want to be focused on in order to really create the opportunity for the largest gains that you possibly can. And so these are the asset class categories that my portfolio has been focused on for this particular cycle. I'm not in DeFi for the most part. I'm not in layer 2s, not thinking about DEX tokens. I do have gaming, and I don't have any NFTs, really at all right now for this cycle. All right, next up, I'm going to give you guys a tour real quick of CoinMarketCap, because this is the most important tool that you can use when it comes to navigating this market. All right, so let me pull up my share screen again. Just one moment. All right, so if you're not familiar with CoinMarketCap, hopefully you are, but if you're not, this is where you get all of your knowledge and information about all of the assets in this industry. I'm going to give you just a brief overview of this platform because you need to know how to use this. So as you can see here, CoinMarketCap lists every single crypto token basically that exists. There's tens of thousands of them right now. And actually there's 2.4 million crypto assets that exist right now. So my 10,000 is quite outdated, but I haven't looked at this number in a while. And this number has exploded because anybody can go on Solana, for example, and create a crypto asset in about 5 minutes. So everybody's creating crypto assets, hoping that theirs is going to, take off as a meme token and they're going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. There's 742 exchanges. The entire market cap for the entire crypto industry, including Bitcoin and all of these tokens, is $2.6 trillion. And those are some of the big primary stats here, right? So you can see that these assets are listed in a specific order, and that order is determined by its market cap. This is the total value of each of these assets, right? So if you took the total supply of tokens for Bitcoin times the price, you would get its market cap. Now, what I want to communicate, and I want for you guys to understand when it comes to price appreciation, is that when you're evaluating a token, it has nothing to do with the price. It has everything to do with the market cap. So for example, for the price of Bitcoin to double from roughly $69,000, let's just call it 70, for it to double to $140,000, an extra additional $1.35 trillion would have to come into Bitcoin in order for that price to double, right? The market cap would have to double. For Solana, $75 billion right now. For the price of Solana to double to roughly 320 bucks, we'd have to have an additional $75 billion of capital to come into Solana. Now, as you scroll down CoinMarketCap, you're going to see the market caps decrease in value, right, as they go down in order. Let's just go to page number 3. Now we're looking at market caps that are $2.3 billion, right? $2 billion, $1.7 billion. So which do you think is going to be easier to happen for the price of Bitcoin to double, trillions of dollars in value that need to be created, or for, something like 0x0 for an additional $300 million to come in to this project for that price to double, right? It's significantly easier for you to double your investment with these smaller projects because it requires a fraction of the amount of money to come in order to make that, that doubling happen. So this is really important. And when we jump into one of these projects, and let's just go to 0x0, we can get a lot more information about it, right? So again, we have its market cap here. This is how much it's valued. I like, when I'm investing in tokens during the bear market, I like to invest in projects that have market caps under 300 million or under. Ideally 100 million, or under. That means there's very little money in those projects right now. And that means it requires very little money to come into those tokens in order for the price to appreciate quickly. Now, whenever you come into a chart here, it's good to just come in and click on all. You can see the price history for 0x0. This is an AI project. So this is one that's been getting a lot of attention. That's obviously been doing quite well. It's up 51,000% since its inception back here at a fraction of a penny. It's now worth 34 cents. Now, one of the big things that you're going to want to look at is where these tokens are traded, right? If you wanted to buy the 0x0 token, this is where you can come to buy them. Now, you're probably going to notice that none of these markets look familiar. I don't see Coinbase. I don't see Kraken. I don't see Binance. I don't see KuCoin. That's because this token is so new, right? It's only been out for just over a year, that it's not listed on any central exchanges yet. So right here, these are all the exchanges that these are listed on. These are the centralized exchanges they're listed on. So it's listed on basically these two, which are foreign exchanges I've really never even heard of. We can see that the trading volume is $227,000 a day, which is really small. So there's not a lot of liquidity there. And so this gives us some really good information on this project. It's new. We can see that the price has been appreciating, which means it's been getting attention and people have been buying it, which is solid. It's right at a $300 million market cap, which I think is in the sweet spot right now for where we are in the beginning phase of this cycle. I have a high confidence level that this token, as the bull market continues, will do a 10 to 20x from here. Would not surprise me at all to see the total market cap for this to go to $3 billion or more. And so I think this is a solid pick, right? In fact, we added this to the portfolio probably back here somewhere. I haven't looked at the value of where we're at now or the price that we bought in, but it's in our portfolio. So there's a free pick for you guys. Now, the other thing that you're going to need to know is this little tab right here. It stands for decentralized exchange. So these are automated trading protocols, basically, where you can go interact. You can take a software wallet like MetaMask, and you can interact with these decentralized exchanges, and you can buy this token. So this is where we bought it. We bought it on the Uniswap decentralized exchange on the Ethereum network. You can see volume here is just under $1 million a day, so a lot more liquidity than those centralized exchanges. If you want the chance to see 100x gains, plus from these tokens, you have to buy these assets before they get listed on centralized exchanges. By the time they get on Coinbase and Binance and Kraken, well, that's when they become available to the general public, right? That's when your mom and your buddies are buying these tokens. We're buying them months, if not a year, before they've ever even heard of them, let alone have the chance to buy them on Coinbase using these decentralized exchanges, okay? Again, this is where you can come in and you can buy a new token literally the day that it goes live on a blockchain. I'm not saying you'd want to do that, but you can, and this is where you can do that. All right. Yeah, the way I would think about it is buying an asset pre-IPO versus IPO. It's like buying a stock pre-IPO where the general public and retail is going to buy it at its IPO. Which group do you want to be in? You want to be in the pre-IPO category. That's what we're doing with decentralized exchanges. All right, so let's see here. I'm going to show you guys a few examples of some DEXs real quick. So this is Uniswap. When you come over here, this is their website. You'll see you can just launch their app here. This Uniswap basically is where you trade assets that are built on the Ethereum blockchain. This is Jupiter. This is where you can use and buy assets that are on the Solana blockchain. And this is PancakeSwap, where you can, again, acquire assets that are built on the Binance Smart Chain. And those are really the three biggest chains that are out there these days. Avalanche is another one. And there's a different decentralized exchange that you can use for Avalanche. But I would say these are three of the top primary DEXs that we use to buy these tokens early. And they're fairly simple, but there's also some complexity to these and some nuance and some use cases when trades don't go through that you need to know about, using a VPN that you need to know about, making sure that you're trading on the right blockchain that you need to know about. Because the problem with the DEXs is that if you make a mistake, you lose your money. If you make a mistake, there is no customer service to call, like the money's gone. So you need to know how to use these. And, but once you do it, basically gives you a superpower when it comes to investing in these cycles. All right. Let's go back to my slide deck real quick. All right, so that's our CoinMarketCap tour and our DEX tour. It brings us to step number 3, which is know when to sell and have the emotional strength to do it. Okay, the hardest thing that you will ever have to do in a crypto bull market is to sell your assets after you've watched them go up 10x plus in 6 months. There's, I think I saw in the comments, many of you who participated in the last bull market, you probably got super excited about your gains. You didn't know when the top was actually coming in, and you held on to those assets all the way down to the bottom, when Bitcoin got back down to 15, 16 grand last year. This is really, really, really hard, and it's something I've lived through once or twice now, and it's just tough. This creates confirmation bias. In fact, there's four different things that you have to look out for. Confirmation bias, again, is your brain says, if you're playing roulette and you get black 10 times in a row, your brain starts to think, well, the next thing's going to be black as well. When your crypto assets go up day after day, week after week, over and over and over again, you're not going to believe that that trend is going to stop. You think it's going to continue. Second, you're going to run into peer bias, meaning you're going to see people all over Twitter and all over YouTube and all over Instagram and Facebook you're going to perceive as experts. Right? These are people who do technical analysis. They've got massive YouTube channels in crypto, And let's say when Bitcoin hits 150K, they're going to say, well, now it's going to 200 and then 250 and then 300. And the hard part about this is that they're going to have the charts and technical analysis to basically prove or demonstrate that that outcome is quite likely. It's going to bring logic into the argument. And you guys as copywriters know the difference between emotion and logic. It's going to bring logic into the argument, and your brain is going to latch on to that logic in order to justify its confirmation bias. And you're going to stay in the market even after it has, started to top and started to crash. Third, you're going to get into a place where you start to mentally spend and invest future gains, right? Let's say your portfolio is up to $1 million. Let's say you invested 50 grand and your portfolio is up to $1 million. Well, now, oh gosh, it's gone up 20x. It could surely go up just another 2x. And if it goes up 2x, well, then I've got $2 million. And then you start to spend and invest that money. And well, now you're looking at a different level of house or a different kind of car or whatever it may be. But you really start to mentally, think about where you're going to put that money. And I am definitely guilty of that. Last cycle, when my portfolio got past 5 million bucks, well, now I'm like, oh, well, 2x is 10 mil. The 3x is 15 mil. And each of those levels allows me to do certain things and pursue certain dreams that I have, right? And that gets really attractive, and it gets hard to let those dreams go, even when you already should have, even after the top has already been in. And that's what gets people in trouble. And the fourth thing that you have to look out for is not having a plan for profits. It is possible to make absolutely life-changing money in this market. Most people, when they see their portfolio or their net worth go up by 20x in the span of 12 months, they freak out and they don't know what to do with that money. A lot of them, again, ride it to the bottom and they lose it. The people who do end up selling and they walk away with a new level of wealth in their life, they have no idea what to do with that money. They didn't come from money. They don't have parents that came from money. This is the most money they've ever had in their bank account before. And all they want to do at that point, for lack of having a plan, is go buy the things they've always had on their dream board. Buy the new Porsche, the new Ferrari, the new house, the new Lambo, whatever it may be. And simply put, if you do not have a plan for your money, it will end up in the hands of somebody else who does, right? Think about that. Think about that, because Ferrari has a plan for your money. Lamborghini has a plan for your money. Apple has a plan for your money. All of these companies have the smartest, highest paid people in the world, and their only job in their marketing departments is to extract the money you have in your bank account and transfer it to theirs. So if you do not have a plan, and if you are not mentally prepared to protect the money that you have made, you will absolutely lose it. All right. So again, how do we get through that? How do we move through these? It's by using indicators. Okay. We want to remove ourselves from the equation. We want to remove our bias. We want to remove our emotion from the equation. And we do that by using math and these indicators. So this one is pretty cool because it will tell you, again, you buy when Bitcoin is down in the green here, and then you sell when it peaks up here in the red. Very, very simple. A first grader could do it. Buy in green, sell in red. Super simple. This indicator that we use is pretty awesome. It uses Fibonacci levels, and this one can tell us where the potential top is likely to be. And so you can see here, these different colored lines are, again, Fibonacci extensions. So you can see that the next one that we're heading towards, I believe, is around 95 to 100K. And then if we break through that Fibonacci level, the next one is about 180K. And so we know that we're likely, as we break through this one right here, which we've done, that it's very likely that we're going to go over 100K. And again, if we break through this level, then it's very, very likely that we're going to go up to this level right here. And so that can give us time to mentally prepare on where we think that the tops are going to come in. And it can give us some data as far as specific numbers are concerned. But this indicator right here is my favorite because it is called the top of all 3 previous Bitcoin cycles within 72 hours. It's like having a crystal ball. It's absolutely phenomenal. Okay. This tells you when Bitcoin tops, again, within 72 hours without you having to guess, without you having to think, and it has done it every single cycle. So when we use this indicator, excuse me, it literally prints this red flag in this line and it says the Bitcoin side, Bitcoin has topped, and then you can sell. Bitcoin has topped, then you can sell. This specific indicator has also signaled the bottoms. It literally prints this green line and this green flag, and it says Bitcoin has bottomed. Right? This is as easy as it freaking gets, guys. It nailed the 2017 top. It called the top in 2021 at $65,000 when nobody, including myself, thought that we're anywhere near the top. We thought there was no way Bitcoin was going to top out at less than 100 grand last cycle. It did not make sense in any form or fashion. This top does not look like a normal parabolic top, but this indicator freaking went off and it called it, right? So this is one of the most valuable tools in the world if you are going to be investing in Bitcoin. In fact, I'll show you how valuable it is. If you bought, when this indicator cycle bottom went off, it would have said buy at 211. And then if you sold at the cycle top indicator, it would have said sell at $18,000. You would have 88x your money. If you bought at the bottom of this cycle, when the bottom indicator went off, 3,100 bucks, top signaled at $55,000. That's 17x your money. And in this cycle, it signaled the bottom at $20,000. So it never gets the bottom perfectly, but it's damn close enough. It's closer than any of us would get on our own without it. And obviously, we have yet to see the top. But when this indicator says the top is in, I am selling my bags, period. Whether I think it should continue to go up or not, I don't care. I'm taking my emotion out of it. I'm taking my judgment out of it. I'm taking my human fallibility out of it. And I'm using this indicator because this indicator is doing nothing but reflecting market data and sentiment and patterns that we cannot see. So this indicator right here is worth millions and millions of dollars to me and other people like me. If you're wondering how you can get access to this, I will get into that here in just a little bit. All right, next up, we need to talk about tracking your portfolio and taxes. If you are investing in crypto assets, the IRS knows that. They are using some pretty wicked AI programs these days to track people's wallets, and they know that if you're buying crypto, you cannot hide this from them anymore, right? So if you don't report your crypto activity on your tax report each year, you can expect to get an audit very, very quickly. So please be compliant when you do that. So how do you do that? How do you do your taxes when it comes to crypto? I've tried a bunch of different softwares out there that allow you to track your transactions for tax purposes. This is by far my favorite. It's cointracking.info, cointracking.info. And it's pretty awesome. All you do is paste your wallets. If you're using software wallets, you paste your wallet address into the software. It pulls down all of your transaction history off the blockchain, which is all public information. And then you can connect to your Coinbase or Kraken account with their secure API. You give it permission to read your transactions, so it can't move your money or make any trades for you, but it can pull in your trade history. Excuse me. And it's going to show you everything in your portfolio, so you can use this to track your portfolio and your gains for your entire portfolio, in real time, any day, all day. But most importantly, cointracking.info does something that the other tax softwares do not do. Let's say it basically allows you to track the value of your decentralized exchange swaps, which gets really complicated without this software. So for example, let's say that I wanted to swap 3.2 Solana tokens for 144 WIF tokens, which is a meme token in this cycle. Well, each Solana token has a given dollar value at the moment I submit this transaction, and the WIF tokens have a dollar value as well. But none of that's really listed, right? When I do this transaction, that data is not in my wallet. It's not in my transaction history. It just says that I swapped 3.2 Solana for 144.79 WIF. Now, when it comes time to do your taxes a year from now, how in the world are you going to track the value of this transaction? It's basically impossible. And when you really get into crypto, you're going to have hundreds of transactions like this as you buy and then sell throughout the bear run and the bull run. And it becomes just a giant mess. Well, the nice part about cointracking.info, and I don't get paid anything to share this with you guys, there's no affiliate account or anything like that, is that it assigns a dollar value to each of these transactions at the time you made the swap. And it basically tracks the dollar value of every transaction that you do in crypto, whether you do that transaction in dollars or not. And that becomes priceless for you and your CPA when it comes to tax time. All right. And then again, what's your plan for your profits? People think that making money is the hard part of getting rich here, guys, but it is not. Okay. keeping the money that you make is actually the hardest part, and you have to have a plan first and foremost to do that. So here's my plan. It's to take 50% of my gains and then use that money to buy cash flow real estate, which is what we did last cycle. So let's say you walk away with $2 million in profits. Let's say you put in 50 grand in this cycle, you 20x that, you walk away with 2 million in profits after taxes. And so you would put $1 million into multifamily real estate that generates an average return of 15% per year. That would generate $12,500 per month in passive income for you for the rest of your life or more as rents start to raise over the years ahead to keep up with inflation, right? Now, the other million that you still got left, what do you do with that? Well, you hang on to that for about 15 months until the cycle bottom indicators start to go off, and then you start to invest that in Bitcoin, or you can do other altcoins if you want again as well. But let's just say you do Bitcoin. Well, from Bitcoin's cycle bottom to the cycle top, there's a good, decent chance that you could see another 10x return. So that means your million could be worth 10 million within the next 3 years, right? So that's how you take 50 grand and turn it into 10 million in roughly a 4-year time period. So I think it's really, really smart to take at least half of your gains and to use that to buy real tangible assets that will generate cash flow for you and for your family and your kids for the rest of your life. Okay. That is freedom. That is the goal. And that is the opportunity that you have in front of you right now if you know how to take advantage of it. Again, why not just keep it all in Bitcoin if it's going up, right? Well, you could, but I think that putting all of your eggs in one basket is never a good idea. I think it's going for maximum greed, which also has maximum risk. So I think it's really smart, again, to take at least half of your gains and to use that to buy tangible assets. All right, so I'm going to just ask you guys, I'm going to stop sharing my screen real quick and just ask you guys if you've gotten some value from this so far. And if you've got one or two questions about what I have covered specifically so far, I might answer a few of those only based on what we've covered so far if you needed some clarity, right? How to use Uniswap, where's the best place to buy these underground coins? Awesome. Cool. Okay, so I'll take those two questions real quick. Thoughts of traditional advice of an IRA or 401k. So I'll give you guys a quick tip on that. A lesson that we teach our students is how to use something that's called a mega backdoor Roth IRA. A Roth IRA is the most valuable, Roth IRA is the most valuable and powerful tax reduction account or methodology or strategy that you can possibly use. The problem with the Roth IRA is that you can only put $6,900 a year into it. So that's never really going to lead to anything super meaningful. We actually just did a lesson with my tax advisor a month ago for our Rich Everyday students where we taught people how to use something roughly called a mega backdoor Roth IRA, but it's a little bit different than that. That allows you as an entrepreneur to put $69,000 a year into a Roth IRA. And using a Roth IRA, it means you can trade in and out of that account as much as you want. Meaning, if you're trading stocks in your Roth IRA, I can go trade stocks or the Bitcoin ETF 10 times a day, 10 times a week, and none of those transactions are taxable. If I make a gain, it's not taxed, right? If I want to sell those assets because I think the market's going to drop, 30%, and I sell them, that's not a taxable event, unlike any other, methodology that you'd use when you bought or you sold. So now, using this specific method, we can 10x the amount of contributions we make on a yearly basis. And if you're married, you can double that to basically $140,000 a year. You can invest in crypto assets within a self-directed, basically Roth IRA or mega backdoor Roth IRA, which means I could put up to $70,000 a year of my portfolio into that vehicle, and I can ride those gains all the way up to the top. And let's say I 10x that, right? And that goes to $700,000, and I sell and I go into cash. I don't pay taxes on that ever until I take that money out when I'm, roughly in my 60s, right? So that money can grow and compound tax-free for decades ahead. It's the single most powerful thing that you could ever do. And again, that's something we can get into more detail here in a little bit. Real quick, let's go back to sharing my screen, and I will just show you the decentralized stuff real quick. So we're back here on the CoinMarketCap, right? And so again, there's some nuance in this, but you can go to Uniswap right here and you would click on this listing, and then you would come down here and you would hit trade on Uniswap, and then you would be able to connect your wallet. You've got to have a MetaMask wallet. And guys, this is a rabbit hole I would spend an entire other webinar on to teach you how to buy this stuff on decentralized exchanges, because now we get into security concerns when it comes to using a software wallet like MetaMask, right? And then we get into hardware wallets like a Ledger or Trezor, because your crypto is only as secure as your seed phrase. So how do we securely store your seed phrase? Because if you lose that, or if you get hacked and someone gets that, then they get all your crypto. And so there's layers and layers of this, which I'm not going to have time to get into here today, but that's how you do it. Another problem is on decentralized exchanges, you or I could come create an asset that looks just like 0x0. We could literally call it 0x0. And so you're going to get on these decentralized exchanges, specifically on Solana, and you're going to be looking for a token, and you're going to see 3 other versions of it. And you're going to be like, well, hell, which one's the right one? And if you don't know how to tell the difference between those, you're probably going to buy the wrong one, and you're going to lose all of your money, right? So this is whole other things we teach classes on how to use this stuff. But basically, I'll show you one other trick here in CoinMarketCap that's really valuable, is that you can come in here and you can go to categories. So we can come in here, we can see everything that's on Ethereum, right? We can see, Bitcoin and layer 2s that are coming for Bitcoin soon here. We can go to meme tokens. We can go to sports. Let me see here. Something that I want to find. Here's DeFi. AR, VR. Man, they've added a lot of categories. Here's DePIN, right? So decentralized physical infrastructure. This is something that we talked about earlier. So basically, these are protocols that are like cloud. Think of them as cloud storage. Like Filecoin would basically be the crypto version of Dropbox. Render would basically be a decentralized version of gaming GPU access, right? For training AIs and things like that, right? Theta is basically a decentralized cloud for video hosting, like a decentralized YouTube. And so you can come in here and you can see the different assets that are in this category. So if we think that DePIN is a big narrative this cycle, which I know that it is, then these are assets that I'm definitely going to want to consider looking at and investing in. Some of these are gold and that are currently in our portfolio. Other of them are complete dog shit. The interesting part about a Bitcoin bull run is that nearly everything goes up. Some are going to go up more than others, but even the crap coins that are literally scams are going to go up in value. Well, then you come in here and you look at the market cap. ICP currently market cap $7.3 billion. So it's going to take another $7.3 billion to buy this asset class and for that to double. So I might come down here and I might start to look at the newer projects that haven't gotten a lot of attention yet. And then I'm going to go into here and I'm going to start doing my research on these. And I'm going to look at their website and I'm going to look at their founders and I'm going to look at their X account or their Twitter account, and I'm going to see how active they are. And at that point, my goal is to determine, is this a fake scam project, a pump and dump, or is it real? Are the real people behind it? And then you want to start to look at, well, what are the other competitors that it has in this specific category? And then you'll make your decision based on that, right? So there's a lot to this process that frankly, this is why I spend hours a day doing this stuff, but I love doing it. And it's made me a shit ton of money. So hopefully that answers y'all's questions for you real quick there. But let me get back to my slides and then we'll answer some questions for you. Okay, a lot of you guys are probably going to ask, how do I get more help about this moving forward? How do I get access to your portfolio? How do I get access to your indicators? And how do you do all of that stuff? And as Justin mentioned, we do have a private community where we talk about this stuff every single day and where I publish all of those things. And so real quick, I'll tell you guys a little bit about that. And then we're going to offer you a discount on it for, just because you guys are part of Justin's group and ecosystem. And then I'm going to share the three big crypto assets that have done really well for us this cycle here. And I'm going to show you where to go buy those, and I'll show you those on CoinMarketCap. So quick questions for you. Would you guys like to follow me step by step through this bull market cycle where I'll literally take you by the hand and show you everything that I buy? I'll tell you when I buy it, and I'll tell you when I sell it, and I'll tell you why I'm buying it and everything in between, right? If you want to use those indicators that I showed you here earlier, I will give you full access to those indicators and I will teach you how to use them so that you will be able to use them on your own moving forward. And if, again, you would like me to notify you when I'm selling my assets, hey guys, it's the top of the bull run, it's time to sell, or if it's time to start rotating out of these assets because they've been falling behind into these other ones, I literally send out posts and notifications to all of our users whenever I do that. If there's an important market event taking place, like there was last cycle, one of the biggest ones was around Terra Luna and the UST stablecoin. If you were in this cycle, you probably remember that. People were putting billions, if not hundreds of billions into Terra because you were making 15 to 20% per year return on your money. And within a 24 to 36 hour period, it went from their stablecoin went from $1 to losing its peg to fractions of a penny. I caught that within an hour of it happened. I sent out an email to everybody. A lot of our members got out of Terra. They saved their money. People who did not get that notification, who weren't in our group and who weren't paying attention, lost all of their money. And I know a lot of people who lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because of that. So I watch this stuff all the time, every single day. If and when something like that happens, I let everybody in the group know. And also, if you would like to invest your profits with the same people that I invest in at the end of this cycle, well, I will share that with you as well. And again, that is the entire point of this, right? The entire point is not to get into these altcoins and to hold on to those. It's to rotate out of them, generate cash flow, and to put that money into other assets. So this is arguably one of the most important parts of the process. So again, we have something pretty awesome here. It's helping a lot of people make a lot of money right now in this current bull run. And my wife and I run the community. We call it Richer Every Day. And again, this is where we take people by the hand and guide them through these cycles from a technical perspective, step by step. Now, I haven't mentioned my wife, Michelle, much yet, but she's a huge part of the community. She's a world-class coach to 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs. And while I handle the technical crypto side of things, she handles the mindset side of things. She's certified in NLP and hypnotherapy and timeline therapy. And she helps people get through their money blocks, right? If you have subconscious programs that have been holding you back or limiting beliefs from your childhood that have been holding you back when it comes to making money in your business, acquiring clients as a copywriter, building wealth as an entrepreneur, she handles that side of the house while I handle the other side of the house, which makes us a pretty powerful team, which is awesome. Now, what makes Richer Every Day different than any other newsletter or membership or service that you might see out there is that I am not randomly picking assets and telling you what to invest in. What you do with your money is your business, right? I do not tell people what to do with their money. I'm not going to tell you to buy in these crypto assets. I'm not going to tell you to buy in real estate. I'm going to tell you what I am doing with my money, right? Which I think is even more powerful because there's accountability there and there's transparency there that you don't get just going out and, investing in any other program. So what do you get when you join Richer Every Day? First and foremost, you get full access to my personal crypto portfolio. For this cycle, it has over 60 assets in it. My strategy when it comes to crypto is I put small bets over a large number of projects because nobody knows which projects are going to pop and which ones are not. And then as we go through the bull market cycle, we trim the ones that have not caught on, and we put that money into the ones that have, and we refine our picks. But right now there's over 60 assets in the portfolio because we're still fairly early in this cycle. Now I want to get to those 3 picks that I shared with you guys earlier, right? The first one here. So these are 3 assets that I would make sure that you own this cycle. The first one is Sidus. We added this to our portfolio December 8th of 2023. So a few months ago at less than a penny, 7/10 of a penny. We're currently up 64%, and Sidus is just getting started. I can bring up the CoinMarketCap page for this here in just a little bit. I believe we've got an easy 20 to 30x to go in Sidus, right? So I think we've got huge potential left in Sidus. The next one, and that's a gaming project, by the way. The next one that I'm most excited about is GPU. We added that in March, so just a month and 5 days ago. At $1.05, we're up 127% so far with an easy, in my opinion, 20 to 30x to go. This is all assuming we get a full bull market, right? And that we're not cut short by a stock market crash. Again, if that happens, then all bets are off and we could lose a bunch of money. But if we get a full cycle, I think GPU is going to go up another 20, 30x. This is taking advantage of the DePIN market. So GPU basically sells access to their GPUs, cloud computing from an AI perspective at a fraction of the price you could get it everywhere else. And so they have a real product with real hardware, and it's a great deal. And so the GPU is, I think, going to go absolutely nuts because it is also playing on the piggyback of NVIDIA, which has obviously been the biggest stock narrative here over the last 6 months in the stock market. Finally is AOZ. So this is an AI play. We added this in November at 4 cents. This is our biggest winner so far. We're up over 2,000%. That's a 20x return in the span of roughly 5 months. And I believe AOZ has another 10 to 20x more to go, right? So that's our biggest AI play. But think about that, right? Every $1,000 you invested into this is now worth 20,000. And what's really cool here is as we see the market continue to go up and we enter the parabolic phase, let's say we get that 10 to 20x. Right now, the market cap for AOZ is around $900 million. So if we see it head up to 20 to $30 billion, let's just say it's 20x from here and goes to 20 billion, that would be an additional 20x on top of the 20x we already have. That would be a 400x return on AOZ, guys. That means every $1,000 invested into this project, if you were in the group and you bought at 4 cents, would be worth $400,000. That's pretty awesome. And as you guys saw from my portfolio picks, at the beginning of this presentation from the last cycle, that's totally doable. We did that in the last cycle. And we're on track here to do that with this project specifically here as well. So these are 3 solid plays that I would absolutely take a look at. And real quick, well, we'll do that here in the end. We'll take a look at their charts here in just a minute, but I don't want to change screens here again. That's the math that I just showed you here on AOZ. Price has changed since yesterday, so I'm going to put it at a 400x instead of 430. But I think Justin's probably sent you this image. These are just a fraction. Again, we've got over 60 assets in the portfolio. This looks like it's about 10 showing right here. Up 399%, 276, 925, 780 on another. And then this was AOZ a week ago at 2,145% gains. So you can see we've got a bunch of picks in the portfolio, and there's dozens more beside this that are already up 200 to 300% plus, between 2x and 10x already. And again, we haven't entered that parabolic phase yet. We haven't seen the halving yet that comes in 10 days. So there's a very good chance that everything in the portfolio is going to go up at least 10x from there, right? So the projects that are up 3x right now, 300% like this one, or let's just say 400, that turns into a 40x. If we go up 20x, that turns into an 80x, right? This is absolutely possible. The hard part for most people, because they don't have the indicators that we're going to be using, is going to be when to sell, knowing when to get out of these projects, right? All right, next up, you're also going to get access again to those top and bottom cycle indicators, which are absolutely priceless. You're going to get my monthly market and portfolio updates. So every single month, I send out a video update. It's usually 20 to 30 minutes long, and I go over the risks and the opportunities that I see in the general economy and the stock markets and in crypto. So in our April 1st edition that I sent out 9 days ago, I did a general market overview. We looked at a bunch of macroeconomic indicators that I track when it comes to, looking at the potential recession that's headed this way and when are we going to enter that. So I'm always paying attention to those indicators. And then we've got a bunch of new people who've come into the group, probably like a bunch of you guys here today. And they're looking at a portfolio with 60 assets in it that we've acquired over the last year. And they're like, hey, what do I buy right now if I'm coming into this today? So I put out a list 9 days ago of the 10 must-own assets in the portfolio. So when you're brand new, if you join us here today, you come here and you go to important posts, you're going to see this update from April. And those 10 crypto assets are the ones that I would focus on immediately and add those to your portfolio again if you want to invest in crypto. All right, next up, you're going to get step-by-step tutorials on how to buy tokens early on decentralized exchanges, right? So we talked about that earlier. It's important. If you want to get the biggest potential gains, you've got to buy the tokens the earliest possible time and the lowest possible prices. The only way to do that is on decentralized exchanges. So when you guys log in, you can come to this crypto section right here. You're going to get a full hour-long lesson called Crypto Investing 101. This is going to take you through the safety stuff when it comes to backing up your seed phrase, keeping that secure, keeping your password secure, showing you how to use a a software wallet like MetaMask. Once you have a clear understanding of the basics, you can move here to how to use Ethereum and Uniswap and decentralized exchanges in that ecosystem and on the Ethereum blockchain. A lot of the three tokens that I just shared with you a minute ago, Sidus, GPU, and EOS, I don't know off the top of my head if all three of them are on Ethereum, but I know at least two of them are. And so the only way that you can buy those is on the Ethereum blockchains using a DEX. This lesson is going to literally show you and walk you through that process step by step. This is how to do the same thing on Solana. So how do you use decentralized exchanges on Solana, which again is one of the most, by far and away, the fastest growing blockchain ecosystem here in this cycle. I'll show you how to get on those here early. Right. Fifth, you're going to get personal access to based on every crypto mindset or the markets. It's literally an open format call, guys. You can come in and you can ask me anything you want about any of these topics, or if you have a different topic, we can talk about that as well. But this is your time for you to come in and ask me questions about a specific asset. I do business reviews, right? So most of our members are entrepreneurs like you guys. If you want me to review your funnel, I've made over $60 million online. And so if you want me to review your funnel during that process, I will absolutely do that there as well. Now, how much costs to join Richer Every Day? In the past, as you can see here, we charged $5,000 to become a part of this group. And that was pretty easy to justify. As you can see here from just a sliver of some of our Stripe transactions, we sold a lot of memberships at $5,000 because it's really easy to help people make a lot more money than $5,000 and help them make their money back instantly through just the tax saving strategies that we teach you as well, right? Let alone the crypto portfolio and crypto gains. You could join for $5,000 today, and I could show you that I make it back to a Roth IRA strategy, and we'll through that hour-long webinar that we did with my tax advisors, even if you just invested $50,000 into that specific account, as it grows and compounds tax-free, giving us $5,000 to learn how to do that is like a no-brainer. It's like giving me $5,000 and I make you 500. It's pretty simple, right? So we sold a lot at that price. We're not charging that right now for this cycle. In fact, we reduced the price substantially. If you were to go to richereveryday.com and watch the webinar that I have up there right now, you would be given the chance at the end of that webinar to join Richer Every Day for just $97 a month or $597 a year. The $597 a year is a deal. It basically gives you 6 months for free, but that is not what you guys are going to join here today at either. Excuse me. Because y'all are friends of Justin's and Justin's a friend of mine, I'm going to give you an incredibly special deal that is only available to those of you who joined us on this webinar here today. And you can click on the link that, Justin, if you can put that in the chat, that'd be great. Or you can go to richereveryday.com/Justin, and you can basically join the entire program and get everything that other people paid $5,000 for $67 a month or $497 a year. At that price, frankly, I feel like I'm giving it away for free. $500 a year for everything that you're getting, 50 plus coaching calls, portfolio access, all of that stuff. I kind of feel like I've given everything away for free. But that's okay, because I love helping people win. We've done really well. We don't really need the money. I want people to have skin in the game. I want to receive some value for everything that we're producing for all of our members on a weekly basis. And it's a hell of a deal, even at $97 a month. But again, you guys can join here today for $67 a month, right? You're going to be grandfathered into that price. So as long as you keep your membership, it's never going to increase, even though it's $97 a month for everybody else in the general public. Now, here's the really cool part is that crypto, well, actually, before I get to that, let me cover the money back guarantee for you guys. Always, always super important, as you know, as copywriters, to remove risk. So we do the same thing here with Richer Every Day. You guys get a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can join the program, you can go through everything, you can steal my portfolio, you can use all of the info, and you can, if you want, ask for a refund 30 days later. We'll give you a full one. I don't tend to attract people who take advantage of us like that, so I don't worry about that. The refund rate we have for this within the first 30 days is like less than 1%. So people come in, they get overwhelmed with value, and they stay with us for month after month, year after year. And it's because they get so much value from it. Again, it's there just in case you want it, just in case you need it to feel safe. And it's important to know that crypto is just one topic that we cover here in Richer Every Day. That's what we focused here on this webinar because that's what Justin wanted to cover. It's what I'm really into. It's what we talk a lot about here in the community and the platform, but this is just one part of building wealth, which is really what Richer Every Day is all about. At the end of the day, this community was designed to give you guys the knowledge, the context, and the support that you need to build a 7 to 8 figure net worth in the years ahead. And that's holistic, right? So in addition to the crypto stuff, in addition to the portfolio access, the trade alerts, the monthly market updates, the weekly training calls, you're also going to get access to the entire Richer Everyday course, which is going to teach you first and foremost how to rewire your mind for wealth. So most people, especially entrepreneurs, have something that I call an inverted dopamine response, which makes it nearly impossible to build wealth because your brain associates spending money with pleasure, right? If you have ever had trouble accumulating money over a long period of time, if you get stuck in what I call the make it, spend it, risk it cycle, where you make money and then you either spend it, on lifestyle things that you want, or you end up risking it, that's why this is happening. Now, the good news is that you can fix that association, and we're going to show you how. And the reason that I'm aware of this is because I went through this process. I went through the make it, spend it, risk it cycle for 15 years in my career. And then I went through a brain injury and went through a bunch of different types of mental therapy. And I realized that this is happening from a neurochemical perspective, and that the vast majority of people on this planet, especially in America, I'd say 95% have this, thanks to modern day marketing, where you have been trained, again, to get dopamine whenever you spend money to buy something, whether that's food, alcohol, or shopping, whatever it may be. And once that pattern is ingrained in your brain, it's really hard to get out of, and it creates a self-fulfilling prophecy where if you go through financial stress, how do you eliminate that stress? How do you eliminate that cortisol? How do you get that dopamine? You spend money, right? Which creates more financial stress, and then you spend more money, and it creates this whole thing that is just really, really nasty and really hard to get out of. Again, you can fix that and you can reassociate it. And once you do, well, accumulating money and then keeping the money that you make will become nearly effortless. As you can imagine, this is really important to do right before you potentially make some life-changing money in crypto. So we show you how to do that. And then once we show you how to do that, we're going to help you create an actual roadmap, and a plan that will show you how to achieve real financial freedom and automate that process. You want to take discipline out of the equation when it comes to building wealth. You want to take remembering to, add and contribute to your portfolio out of the process. You want to automate everything. And so when you go through these 4 lessons right here, I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that and how we do it in our lives. Now, next up, we're going to walk you through more than a dozen different passive investment and tax reduction strategies used by myself and a lot of my really wealthy friends to protect and grow their money, right? So first and foremost, had a lawsuit yourself with my attorney, Doug Lodmell. So if you don't have an asset protection plan in place, you need to get one, especially if you're going to be investing in crypto. And again, the fact that you might make some potentially life-changing money here, if you get in a car wreck, all of that could be gone. If you have a Coinbase account or a Kraken account, it's in your personal name and you get in a car wreck, all of that money is gone. It's not yours. You have to set up a trust and a specific type of trust in order to protect that money. Then we get into tax reduction strategies. We get into how to make up to 71% per year in passive income. We get into how to make passive income with rental real estate. We do the same thing when it comes to multifamily apartment complexes right here with my friend JP. And the really cool part is that I introduce you to all of the same people that I use in my life, right? So you're going to get the contact information for my tax strategist. You're going to get the contact information for JP and the people that I invest in when I put money into multifamily apartment complexes. You're going to get the contact information for Doug and an introduction to him so that you can set up your trust, right? Where you don't have to go figure out all of this stuff on your own. I've already done all of that work for you. These people are world-class. They're the best in the world at what they do, and they're who we personally use in our life, right? So all of that is done, and all of that is there for you, and all of that is included when you join Richer Every Day right now for $67 a month, which is just over $2 a day, guys, or $500 for the year. All right. After that, again, I want to give you this disclaimer again. I cannot promise you any kind of life-changing returns here. I cannot guarantee you that you're going to make a profit. I cannot tell you what to do with your money. I have no control over what's going to happen in the market, in the months and years ahead, but I can and will show you exactly what I'm doing with my money. And that is exactly what Richer Every Day is all about, right? And so far, the investments that I've made are on track to generate life-changing wealth for myself. Once again, in this cycle, we already did it in the last cycle. And frankly, we're helping a lot of our members here in Richer Every Day do the same thing, which has been absolutely awesome. Now, again, I want to address this one final question here, which we addressed here in the beginning, but it's one that a lot of people have is, are you too late? And you're not too late. You are literally right here, 10 days ahead of the halving event. And if the cycle repeats like it has the previous ones, chances are high that it will, but it's not guaranteed. You guys are right in at the perfect freaking time, man. But, the clock is ticking. Today, in the last 24 hours, the market's taken quite a big tumble. A lot of the assets are down 10 to 15%. It's a hell of an opportunity to buy into the portfolio. So frankly, your timing is freaking perfect, right? So again, if you want to join us here, just go to richereveryday.com/Justin, or we can put a link in the chat for you guys. And then now I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you guys have about what we've covered here today or the group.
Hey, Mike, just an FYI, apparently the checkout page still has the $97 and $5.97 price on it.
All right, let me get that fixed real quick.
A couple people mentioned that in the chat. Yeah, I'm seeing that on my end too. So
cool. Okay. I had my tech guy make an adjustment on that earlier this morning, so he must have missed that. I'll see if I can get that fixed for you real quick. And if not, you can send out an email, Justin, for everybody, and we'll make sure everybody gets the discount. All right. In the meantime, what questions do you guys have? All right. What time is the Thursday call from David? We do it every day at 12 o'clock Central, so Austin time, and we record those calls. So if you can't make them live, we put them in the group. All right. We're getting those prices updated for you right now. All right. So from Matt, what was the biggest lesson you've learned so far in your life regarding crypto? Emotions, man. Crypto will force you to learn emotional discipline and patience. Crypto is the hardest asset class in the world to invest in. Even though we're not trading, I don't do trading, I buy and I hold for the cycle. We'll still see 20 or 30% drawdowns in crypto. And most people are not used to that kind of volatility. Most people are not used to seeing their portfolio go up to 100 grand and then drop down to, 60 grand, 70 grand. And they get freaked out and they sell. And then the next day the market rebounds and they have to buy back in at a higher price and they lose their money. Most people are not used to seeing that happen day after day, week after week, for a year. And then most people, again, the hardest thing to do is to sell at the top. And so it really helps you become very mature emotionally when it comes to managing money and having patience. And so those have been by far the most valuable lessons that I've learned.
one question I want to answer in here, Mike, a lot of people asked this kind of throughout it was people who are brand new, don't know anything about crypto. This is obviously a lot. You don't have to jump in and buy 60 coins. Like when I started, I literally bought Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then I kind of learned some stuff over the next, I don't know, year or so and started adding some more. I mean, if you're like, I'm a very just, I have 90% of my crypto money in Bitcoin and I play around with the other 10% and I follow the picks that Mike has. So I'm much more conservative in that aspect than probably Mike is. But for me, I'm bought into like the Bitcoin narrative that it's going to be a million, it's going to be a couple million of coins. So like, I'm perfectly fine with that. So you can make this as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. So I think kind of keep that in mind if you feel like this is a little overwhelming.
100%. I would say the vast majority of our members don't buy every asset that I put in the portfolio. I'm, again, just documenting what I am personally doing, right? And for me, I buy a lot of assets. Again, I put a little bit of money into a lot of assets because if I didn't do that, I never would have found AOS. I had no idea AOS is going to be a 20x, right? I had no idea that another asset was going to hit 970% in the last few months that we have in the portfolio. So the only way that you can create the opportunity for that to happen is to spread your money out over a larger number of projects if you want those larger gains. Now, if you're happy with a 3, 4, 5 to 10x, if you buy at the right time, if you buy at the bottom, you can just invest in Bitcoin, in Ethereum and the larger projects. You don't have to do what I'm doing, but for me, I'm going for an average of 20 to 30x total portfolio increase over the course of the bull run by the time I exit out of everything. Some are going to do 50 to 100x. Some are going to not really do much at all. They're going to do a 5 or a 10. So at the end of the day, when I sell everything and average out, my goal is to do 20x plus on average. All right, order form is fixed, Greg. Yeah, thank you. My buddy Mike just got that fixed for you guys. So you can do a hard refresh. If you don't see the price change, just open it up in a new browser because it's probably cached. Try Safari or Chrome, and then that should clear that up for you. Yeah, monthly is fixed. Let's make sure annual. All right, cool. Glad we could get that fixed for you guys in real time. All right. What other questions do you guys have for me? How do you view long-term versus short-term capital gains when it comes to selling? I held a coin in 2021 bull run, but for this reason, and it ended up crashing. Yeah, I don't worry about that. Long-term or short-term cap gains, you just can't, because the bull market will end when the bull market ends, right? And so if it ends 6 months after I bought a token, I'm selling it no matter when. I'm not taking taxes into perspective. All right, guys, it looks like annual should be updated for you as well. I just got a screenshot from Mike, and the pricing is now accurate now. So you guys are good to go as far as that discount is concerned. The nice part about it is when you guys log into the members area, if you go to phase 3 and the investing strategies, you scroll down to the bottom, you're going to find an entire webinar that I did with my tax advisor on that backdoor Roth strategy. And that is the single most valuable thing that you could ever do to accumulate tax-free wealth for your life. I cannot tell you how important it is to set up those accounts and to set up that structure. Again, you can call my tax advisor that I use and that a bunch of our other people and entrepreneurs in Austin use, and use them as well, and they'll help you set it up. But that is unbelievable, because when you have the money in that account, well, then you can trade and you can sell anytime you want, a week after you buy if you want, and there's no taxable event there, which is awesome. Okay, Morgan, I haven't seen your question, so I'm definitely not skipping it. Is it the one, how would I recommend to manage my bag right now? I have 4K in XRP. Is that the one you want answered? More on the BRICS bits. Oh, BRICS nation CBDCs. Yeah, CBDCs are all coming. The BRIC nations are in the process of creating their own reserve currency, most likely backed by gold. And that's coming here probably by 2030. The moment that gets launched, the dollar is going to probably tank. And we're probably going to see significant inflation. If there's ever an opportunity to see hyperinflation in the US dollar, that would be when it happens. And I think, again, that's probably going to happen between now and 2030. So the nice part about it is that Bitcoin will be the biggest winner out of all of that, right? And so we're in the right asset at the right time. All right, so do I think XRP will be the bridge replay? Okay, no. So I get this question all the time. People have been talking, saying that XRP is going to become basically the payment rails that the Federal Reserve and those level of banks start to use for international settlements, SWIFT and all of that stuff. And I do not think that's the case. I do not think that will happen. And that rumor's been going around since the launch of XRP. There's been whole white papers and documents and all of this crap that people have posted to pump the price of XRP. So why do I think that's not going to happen? Because there's no need for the Fed or the central banks to use XRP to do that, they can just create their own version of it, which is what Stellar was. XLM was just a copy and print paste of XRP in 2017. And why in the world would those guys who care zero about us and the little people want to adopt XRP, which is held by the common man, and pump our bags, right? They don't have any control over the protocol. So they're not going to use it. They're going to create their own version that's walled for their own internal use, that they control, that they modify, that they program, that they can edit transactions on, they can do whatever they want on, right? So they're not going to use XRP. They're going to use their own version of it. And I think, I don't know if it was FedCoin or something, but they've been testing something for the last 12 months already, and it ain't XRP, right? So that's not going to happen. Do I think XRP will pump this cycle? Sure. I think it'll have its day in the sun. There's too many people that own it. It has too much market awareness around it. So far, it hasn't had its day, but I think it certainly will. So if you own XRP, and I own some, it's in our portfolio. I think it'll do fine. But I own it just so I can sell it and move into fiat, and then move that fiat money into hard assets like real estate.
Mike, one of the questions that came up a couple times, I think would be good to answer. How do you think the Bitcoin ETFs are going to change things moving forward?
They already have changed everything. So I've been talking about, if you've been on my email newsletter, I've been talking about and looking forward to the Bitcoin spot ETF since 2017. It took a lot longer because the SEC did not want this thing to go live. But now that it has already changed everything. So Bitcoin, this cycle, hit its new all-time high before the halving. That has never done that before. Normally, Bitcoin doesn't make a new all-time high for like 4 to 9, 8 months after the halving cycle. It did it before the halving this cycle, which is unprecedented and is wholly because of the spot ETFs. The Bitcoin spot ETF so far, over 50 billion in value, I think as of last time I looked at it, has crushed every single record that has ever existed for any ETF in history. Like by far, it smashed every record for value accumulated within the first, I want to say, 6 weeks. Way more, years and years ahead of gold, but anything else. So the Bitcoin ETFs are the fastest adopted, most popular ETFs that have ever existed in the history of the stock market. And that's going to continue to just accumulate value and accumulate value and accumulate value. So yeah, it's going to make the top for this cycle really hard to predict, because the money might just keep coming in, right? Especially as they start to turn on the pumps again and reduce interest rates and all of that stuff. So how long does it take, Scott, to get access to the Club Richer Everyday segment of the portal? It should be instant. You should have instant access to that. If you don't, many of the sections are locked. Okay, I'll get that fixed for you real quick. All right. For all of you guys who join, we'll get that fixed here in a minute, and as soon as the webinar's over, I'll change access for you manually. But you guys get access to everything in that, everything except Audience Factory, which is our a whole different marketing program. But y'all get access to all of it. A bunch of bonuses that I didn't even cover here on the webinar today. Y'all are gonna get access to those as well. So I will make sure that everybody who joins today gets access to everything. All right. This one is let's see, what wallets do you hold your assets in? It depends on the blockchain, right? So for Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche, Matic, in those chains, I use MetaMask, and then for Solana, I use Solflare. Greg, if I had $100,000 to invest, would you buy one Bitcoin and then hit the smaller coins with the remainder, or would you have a higher percent on the smaller ones? This really comes down to everybody's personal circumstances. So how meaningful is that $100,000 to you, right? How conservative do you need to be? If you lost that money, or if it went down 30, 40, 50%, would that cause you a lot of stress and anxiety? If that's the case, then yeah, I'd probably just put, the majority of it in Bitcoin, and then you can allocate the rest to some smaller altcoin projects. if that 100K is trivial money to you and you're fine watching that go down in value. And I'm talking about not permanently, but just in the volatility. The big indicator here that you've invested too much in this market is if the market drops 30 or 40% and you're freaking out and it's causing you a ton of stress. That means you've invested too much money. But if you can handle that volatility just fine, then it means you're good, right? So if that 100 grand is trivial to you, then I personally would put probably 10 grand across 10 different assets. Probably those top 10 assets that I put in the April update is what I would personally do. Because if you're in this market for returns, which is what I'm in it for, then you want to be in altcoins. If you're in this market for preservation of capital over the next 5 to 10 years, then you just want to put it in Bitcoin. And that's how I would think about it.
Yeah, I'll add on that, Greg. I've learned pretty quickly my overall tolerance is about 20-30% of my portfolio in crypto. I would not be able to sleep if I had 80% of my portfolio in crypto. I just know myself. I know it'd be too up and down. I wouldn't be able to handle it. So kind of like Mike said, it is very individualized. I mean, I have friends who have their entire net worth in Bitcoin and they sleep perfectly fine at night. So it really depends on the person. And I have another video that kind of goes into the kind of how my portfolio is set up, but mine, just to give you guys a number, mine's around 30% crypto, like 50% index funds and about 20% real estate. And that's kind of the mix I'm pretty happy with. And it's, like I said, it allows me to sleep at night and it gets me the returns I'm looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Great approach. Great approach. So it all just comes down to what your priorities are and what your personal financial situation is in. I'm fine taking a lot of risks. I've been doing this again for 11 years now. I've learned my lessons the hard way, and I watch this stuff every single day. Like, I spend probably 2 hours a day on it, and I watch it like a hawk. And so, as Warren Buffett says, right, like, be very specific. Put all of your eggs in, one or two baskets, but watch that basket intently. That's what I do when it comes to crypto. Where other people like Michelle is more set it and forget it. I'll say, hey, babe, put your money that she has in these 10 assets, and then she never even looks at it. She just, lets me tell her what's going on. All right. Do you give advice on how to build an email list in the Richer Everyday community? I know you probably have a pretty large email list, hoping to scale mine. You guys are going to get access to a bonus lesson in there. I'll show it to you real quick. Let me share my screen with you. All right, not that one. Here we go. Okay. And then guys, this has been super fun. We've created like a whole movement in here. We've got almost 3,000 members in the group with some really awesome badasses like Justin and some other rock star entrepreneurs in here. But when you come in here, you're going to get access to Richer Every Day and everything in here, right? All of phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, crypto, a really cool hypnotherapy session when it comes to money that was created by my friend Elliot Rowe, who's the #1 hypnotherapist in the US. An hour-long session with him is $2,000, and he works with all like the top CEOs and Olympic athletes here in the country. And he's a good friend, so he created this really neat hypnotherapy session that will really help rewire your brain for accumulating wealth that you guys get for free as a bonus. Something else that you're going to get here, you've got access to all of our coaching call replays in here, obviously the investment portfolio. This is the lesson that you're going to want to watch. It's the $419,000 case study. So this one, how I made over 419 grand in 7 days by sending 4 emails. So, you guys are copywriters, you're into affiliate marketing. This is a case study that I did that will go through, again, this specific promo. I'm also going to give you copies of the emails from that entire series, and it uses some really cool offer structures that I've really never seen used anywhere else, or at least not very often, that made this work because there was no deadline on this offer. So how in the world did I get, thousands of people to buy this low ticket front end offer and make over almost $500,000 in a week with no deadline and no scarcity? Well, I use that. I'll show you how I did that in this campaign. And then I'm also going to show you the structure that I use to build my email list, right, in this lesson as well. So you're going to see this funnel right here and how I go about building my email list and the math and the metrics as well. And then you guys are also going to get access as a free bonus. I didn't have time to mention this earlier. I didn't want to get too off topic to my swipe file. So obviously, I'm sure everybody in here has a swipe file. You're going to get access to mine that I've been building for years. Capture pages, sales pages, upsell pages, checkout pages, webinar, like all of it. This is literally what I use for my own personal marketing stuff. You're going to get free access to that here as well. Next, you're going to get access to the self-reliance category down here. So I think self-reliance and preparedness is super important. We live in the Austin Hill Country here on a self-sustainable ranch that we've built over the last year. We're fully off the grid with solar and batteries. We have 1,000 square foot greenhouse. I own a gun range. I'm one of the owners of the range here in Austin, Texas, which is the biggest indoor gun range in Texas. So I have a lot of firearms training and stuff in here. But this is all how to become self-reliant and to hedge your bets against the chaos that's happening in the world around you. This is actually a lesson that I took away from Porter Stansberry and Kyle Bass, right? Both billionaires. And both of them are preppers. They don't really talk about it. Kyle has like a 10,000 acre ranch in North Texas. Porter has a whole off-grid farm, filled with guns and gold as well. And I learned this lesson from them when I hung out with them about 10 years ago. And they basically said, hey, the best time to invest is when the world is in absolute chaos. That's when opportunity is created. But the only way you can take advantage of that opportunity is if you are not in chaos yourself. If you're not at the grocery store waiting in line like everybody else was during COVID. Remember when everybody's freaking out during COVID? We weren't, because we were already prepared for all of that. We had N95 masks and all of the shit that we would ever need. And in fact, I was donating those things to my local doctor because they couldn't get them. But I made a shit ton of money during 2020, millions of dollars during 2020, because I had all of this stuff taken care of. So I didn't have to worry about what was happening in the world. I could focus on the opportunities that were being created, and there was lots of them. And so you guys get free access to all of this stuff as well. So yeah, quite a lot for $67. But hopefully that answers your question.
If you guys got any more questions, feel free to pop in the chat. We will wrap up here in a little bit.
Calvin, for your IRA contact, I don't, but my guy will, right? So you can reach out to him and email him. His name's Michael, and you get his email address when you join, and you can just say, hey, who do I use if I'm in Canada? And he'll put you in touch with somebody there that he would recommend. Yeah, awesome, guys. I'd love to know what was most helpful for you. What did you like the best about what you learned today? Was it the deck stuff? Was it CoinMarketCap overview? Was it the mental preparedness stuff? Was it the indicators? What was super helpful? This is the first time I've ever done a webinar like this live for anybody, which is why we messed up with the cart stuff. Justin, I've literally, this is the first live webinar I've ever done in probably 10 years like this for folks. So
nice.
Breaking it down in layman's terms, plan for the profits, indicators, 3 picks. Yeah, the indicators are everything. The indicators are everything. Cool, guys. Yeah, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I really want to stress that. The fact that the Bitcoin ETFs have now gone live as of a couple of months ago, that transfer of money into those ETFs and by therefore, default into Bitcoin will only happen once. Imagine when the Bitcoin ETF, imagine when the gold ETF went live, right? And it was worth $50 billion. And then it's gone up to $15+ trillion. You guys are in at the $50 billion level. It's going to $15+ trillion. And that will only happen one time, right? Cool. David, do I think the ETH ETFs will get approved? I do. I think they will, because they have to, because of the legal precedent that was already set. Basically, the court said, hey, the SEC and the CFTC, you guys approved a futures ETF for Bitcoin. Therefore, you have to go ahead and do a spot ETF. They've already done the same for Ethereum. So they will do an Ethereum ETF, but they're going to postpone it and push it back as much as they possibly can, because the banks are pushing Gensler and that whole crew to delay it as long as they possibly can, because they now understand that this technology will destroy their business. It's going to absolutely destroy banking, right? And so they're doing everything that they can to postpone it and push it off as long as they can, but it will happen. Um, and I just don't know when, right? The whole Bitcoin ETF energy usage thing is a non-issue for me. Once the ETFs got approved and freaking BlackRock got involved and Larry Fink started endorsing Bitcoin, all that shit's off the table. It's Papa Larry basically making the calls at this point, and there's nothing those guys can do about it. So I'm not worried about that at all.
Yeah, I had to chime in on that. I had very similar. That was probably one of the big things in the back of my mind. I was just somewhat concerned Bitcoin would get banned somehow. I mean, the majority of the money in this country is controlled by the BlackRocks and Fidelities and those. Now that their incentives are aligned with everybody who's in crypto, that to me, that's what made me just start piling more money into Bitcoin because I'm just like, it changed everything for me at least.
Cool. All right, guys, just to give you an update, we have everybody's access fixed now. It'll take a minute or two for Zapier to send those permissions over. Um, so give it a minute or two and then do a hard refresh on your screen. If you still don't have access, log out and then log back in, and you should. Everybody should be taken care of. I'm going to be looking over everyone who joined manually to make sure you have access. And then if you still have an issue, just email me at support@mikediller.com and we'll make sure you get taken care of. But you should all be set here in the next 2 to 3 minutes. So
Awesome, guys.
Club Richer every day, again, Robert, is free. It's all included. We had some permission issues that we're fixing for you guys. So that's included as well. And again, that should all be remedied here in just a few minutes. Drew, thanks for asking. Help is still has some progress to make, but it's getting better. Slowly but surely. So all right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Justin, for having me. That was super fun, and glad to hear you guys got a lot of value from that. And then I'm sure you'll be posting the replay, Justin. If you can send me a copy to that as well, that'd be great. And for those of you who are in the community, thank you. Welcome. Jump in the community chat area and say hello. I'll say hi back. I'm super accessible on this platform. You can send me a DM anytime you want if you have questions. And then again, you can join me live every Thursday. We've got our next call tomorrow. So for those of you who have joined us here today, hopefully I'll see you on the call tomorrow.
Awesome. So just a recap for you guys. Tomorrow I will send out the replay of this. There's also 2 bonus videos that show you exactly how to buy the coins that Mike recommended. And then I'll also include another link for the Mike's Richer Everyday membership site if you want to sign up for that. The special deal he offered is good till Sunday night. So if you want to get on the special pricing that he offered for my group, that is only good till Sunday night. So sign up before then if you want to be a part of that. And yeah, appreciate everybody signing up for this. Hope it was helpful for you. If you got any questions for me, hit me up. And would love to see you guys in the Richer Everyday group because I'm in there as well.
Awesome. All right, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks, Justin. Y'all have a good one, and we'll see some of y'all tomorrow.